And we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome everybody to Woodward Pistons Table Talk / post game stream / over under competition / kicking talking basketball session. I'm one of your original or one of your usual suspects here, Sean Murphy, one of your co-hosts of Woodward Pistons, joined as always by my guy Steve at Burke Worldwide. Steve, how's Joe doing today? What's on his mind?
Well, he's trying to call Orlando and Minnesota to like gloat and be like, "Hey, maybe you guys could have used that center and point guard." You know, he also was on the phone with MJ about Rip, but he hung up on him. So,
Well, you know, it's one of those things where you can't be perfect all the time, right? But you know, it's nice when Joe has his win. You know, like especially on GM decisions, it's good when he can win one. But also, I am not just joined by Steve. I am joined by two very special guests. To my direct right is Keith Black Trudeau, one of the prominent voices on Pistons Twitter, one of the historians of Pistons Twitter, and Keith, one of the podcasters of Pistons Twitter. Tell people a little bit about your podcast.
Yeah, I co-host a podcast with Mike Payton. It's called Bad Boys and Beyond. We dig each week into NBA history. One week we will go into the full career. We'll do a deep dive into the career of a single player that had an association with the Detroit Pistons in some way. And then the next week we do a redraft where we'll redraft the top half of the first round of a draft from history. We just did 1991 this week. And we'll go in, and it's really just a conduit for us to talk about really all of the great players from the last 40 years or so, just year by year, going down through draft classes. Awesome. We have episodes that drop every Wednesday morning.
That's awesome, man. So be sure you go check that out on all the podcast platforms. You can find them, assuming Spotify, Apple, all that stuff. Is that correct, Keith?
Oh, yeah. We're everywhere you get your podcasts.
Awesome. Yeah, be sure you go give that a listen. Keith knows his stuff when it comes to the game of basketball, not just the modern day, but back in the day as well. If you want to learn your Pistons history, that's a really good podcast to be following and subscribe to. But last but certainly not least, we are joined by our guy JD, who is the organizer, the madman, the scientist in the lab, so you speak, behind the Pistons over under competition. Jade, it's so good to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us to do this. And we're just excited to have you and get this party started.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's fun to be back and fun to reveal all the categories of the contest. This is the 11th year I've been doing it. Started on a message board that Keith's quite familiar with. And it was I think I just started doing it because the Pistons were hitting the skids. Mm-hmm. This is the 11th year. And I think it was something to do to keep interest during the season, during the Charlie V and Stuckey.
Really years.
Yeah.
Wait, you weren't just excited? You weren't just enthralled by what you were seeing on the court each and every night?
I got excited about D-Mac as a Piston. That was kind of fun for a minute. That was good. Not a whole lot else. Maybe I don't know. The return of Ben Wallace, that was good.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the Renaissance.
The Renaissance?
The Renaissance. Indeed.
Well, that's what we called it when he came back, and he looked like 80% of his old self for like 2/3 of a season. That was great times that people kind of forget. Like Ben Wallace was really, really good for that first year he came back at like age 37 or 38 or whatever.
Yeah, it was good to have him around. I mean, I wished he had stayed one more year just to. If we had a mentor for Andre, I don't know what would have happened differently, but I think it would have been a positive influence.
Yeah, for sure. And it's one of those things where you think back on those years and like it's just so hard to watch. But I mean, like to your point, JD, I mean, it's about how do we make this as enjoyable as possible. But now, I mean, the fact that we get to bring that competition and bring it to this video platform or this community, I think it's only going to make it that much more fun. So
Yeah,
I'm excited about that.
I'm happy that I went from like a little message board for Pistons fans, and we had a nice group of people for years. But now it's with Twitter, it's expanded. I mean, so many people are Piston fans that I follow on Twitter, and it's fun. And I like to share this contest and give a little something for participating in it. And just the more the merrier.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we are going to be definitely getting to that contest here in a moment's time, because this is what we are here to do tonight here with the Woodward Pistons stream. But first, I would be remiss if we didn't briefly touch on a basketball game that just went down, specifically by the Detroit Pistons. And for the fourth time this preseason, the Detroit Pistons lost, but this time it was to a team that I think we all could say has a pretty good chance to, be there towards the end in the Western Conference this year. John Morant down. This is a very talented roster. I kind of want to start, Keith, you and I were kind of talking a little bit before we came in just about how, you and I think you have a very similar approach to preseason basketball that I do, where it's like, listen, no one's really trying to go out there and like win each and every night. It's not exactly like everyone's going 110%. What were some of your like takeaways from the game? And then like, if anything, like is there anything that you're taking away from this preseason?
Well, this last specific game, I think the first three, I think saw the Pistons weren't really that competitive in New York, and they weren't competitive in the second half in Oklahoma City. They were kind of in New Orleans, but Zion Williamson just decided to screw with their entire game and just foul everybody out, which is it's fine. It's Zion. He's going to do that to a lot of people. Tonight actually reminded me a little bit of last season, because in last season they were one of the league leaders in getting really high quality 3-point looks, and they were dead last in making them. And that's kind of what we saw tonight, where just over and over and over again, they were getting really, really good high quality looks. I mean, in an average team shooting those shots, the Pistons would have won tonight. They really would have, but they just couldn't make anything, and that kind of reminded me of last year. But like you said, preseason, these games are inherently disposable. No one will remember any of these games happened a week from now. I would like to believe that this isn't a preview of what's to come during the season. I can't say that for a fact, but I think it's perfectly fine to say, look, everyone's record is 0-0 next week. We're going to see Cade, Sadiq Bey, Isaiah. So we're going to see those guys play 35 to 40 minutes, unlike preseason where they play half the game. And we're going to get Alec Burks and eventually Nerlens Noel. They'll help. It's going to be, so I wouldn't over these games.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's good to bring up, Keith, is, that is, not only like the injury part of like not having, Burks and Noel throughout the entire preseason, but even each and every game kind of had their, their own unique lineup of players that were missing tonight. Obviously a lot of our bench players, Killian Hayes, Isaiah Livers, just to name a couple, that were missing from the lineup tonight as well. Steve, what about you? Like as far, I know that, there's certainly things I think we all can agree like that. Like, I know there's concerns I know there's things that like, like not saying that like I like main takeaways, but I think for him, or I just think in general, I think there is still like a lot of positivity and hope to have out of this preseason. What are your thoughts?
Number one, Beef Stew, keep shooting it, man. Like we've talked about before, the Giannis gene, where it's like, I don't care if I look cool. I don't care if I'm going to miss a ton of these. It's about the process. Like I have to get these up in game repetitions. That's the only way I'm going to get this skill. Like Giannis is probably the best that's ever done it at that. So,
and this is from Kool-Aid.
The Giannis gene. Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
This is from Kool-Aid as we speak. Isaiah Stewart said during the press conference, I work way too hard to pass him up. It's a shot we work on every day. Even my misses felt good, so I kept telling myself, keep shooting. So,
because he was like 1 of 4 by the end of the first quarter, and I was kind of worried, like, I don't know, is he going to stop taking them? But yeah, that's all you got to do is just keep putting them up. And Killian did the same thing last game and a couple games in preseason is just put him up. You got to be aggressive. And along with that, Kevin Knox, this is the first game we've really got to see him. And everybody's been kind of like, I don't know. And me too. I'm not sure about this signing. But I think he just came out and looked aggressive, which I think is what he should be. Like, you should be looking to make the team, not looking to not get cut, if that makes sense. And he played like he's trying to make the team. So that's at least a nice thing, I think. And then my last thing is #StartDuran. I think there's only good things can happen. He only played 19 minutes, 7 points, 12 rebounds.
He also fouled out in only 19 minutes.
Yeah, but that's rookie stuff. And like the refs, he and Beef Stew are continuing the long tradition of the refs hating Detroit big men. So there we go.
Like if he starts, that's great. But if he has to sit down at the 10-minute mark because he's already picked up 2 fouls, that seems counterproductive to me.
Again,
I think 4 by then, Keith.
Again, it's more about the process, getting used to starting. Getting used to him and Beef Stew playing together just to see. Because, again, this draft coming up doesn't have very many great big men outside of Wembanyama. So invest all that development time in them. Yeah,
for sure. JD, what about you? What were some of your takeaways, as you were watching? I know, I know that, this isn't quite the going to work era as far as the quality of basketball that we've seen, but I mean, listen, who would expect it to be, right? It's not even middle October yet. Like we're just getting there. So,
well, I did like the way, even though he was picking up some fouls, I liked the way Duran was contesting shots. Ivy was getting in there a little bit too. Other than that, well, I know it's preseason and a lot of people are overreacting. I've seen a couple of comments in the chat. I think somebody called Cade the king of mid already. So I don't put a ton of weight into the preseason. It would have been nice to get a win, just like one, just a little feel good, but it's not the end of the world. I did, when I was making some of my categories and setting some numbers, I would say the preseason had a little bit of influence on it, but not a ton. I mean, some of the ones it's just, there's a lot of unknowns. Like you mentioned, Burks didn't play. Knox just saw his first bit of action. So projecting some of these categories was a little tough to go off preseason, although I am happy that in past years, I've kind of released the categories a game or two into the preseason. And this one, I got the full preseason. So we'll see if my numbers are better because of that or not.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, tonight was fun. I would have liked a W, but we did get a lot of Ja Morant highlights and some Piston highlights here and there. So that was good. And it was great to see Stu keep shooting after missing his first 4 and hit 3 in a row.
For sure.
Yeah.
And he had moments where he looked really comfortable from beyond the arc. On the other hand, I mean, like you said, Keith, just like how, guys aren't going to play, guys aren't going to play half of the minutes of a game, during the regular season. Isaiah Stewart's not going to shoot 10 games in a regular season game this year. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's just not going to happen. And I don't even know if the team as a whole will get to the 52 3-point shot mark in a single night. I mean, that's a lot. But I mean, having said all that, I think, like you said, I think there's still highlight plays that are happening. There's still moments where things are looking like they're heading in the right direction. I know that people are wanting to see some of that progress and that talent and the fruits of that right away. And I think you're still able to see that in flashes. Like even tonight, they were able to still keep it pretty competitive and get things in there. Also, we're joined. Hey, look at that. We got Lexi in the stream joining us. Welcome, Lexi. You even got the glass. You're even shaded up tonight. You learned.
Yeah, I got the maze out glasses for tomorrow's game. I'm just prepping them for tonight.
Go blue.
Go blue.
That's awesome. Lexi, how are you feeling now that the preseason is wrapped? Like now that you've been able to
relieved. Like, please, I just want to be done with it. I feel like I'm watching the Lions. No, I'm just kidding. But it's the 0-4, it's a tough one. But I think that things will get better once we get to regular season. I think that preseason can't tell us too much, no matter how whatever happens. But I'm hoping things. Let's say I'm hoping things get better by the time regular season comes.
Right. And I mean, even Dwayne Casey said it tonight after the game too. He said, "quote The rebuild hasn't changed. It's not like we'll wake up. It's not like we'll wake up a championship team. We'll get there one day. We're playing two rookies big minutes. I haven't lost the vision with that." So that's directly from Dwayne Casey. Keith, you said it looked like you had something to say there after that.
No, she's right. Look, and this is just an obscure reference that probably has no connection at all. But I remember Phil Jackson's first year with the Lakers. They went 0-8 in preseason, and they got blown out most of the time because they're struggling trying to learn the triangle. And then during the season, they have the best year of any team Shaq's ever been on. And they went 65-17 and won the title. It's preseason. Sometimes it's just a way to work on things, especially if you have a new or young or a roster that isn't the same roster as the year before. And then all of a sudden, when the season starts going, that's when things start clicking.
Right.
Yeah, definitely got to get that chemistry because it is a very young team, and a lot of new guys playing together for the first time. So, or only like a half a season, but.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
And like the other thing too is just, like not only are like, and I think we've seen a lot of us, like a lot of this preseason, we've been playing teams that have significant amount of time together on the court. Like even like the Knicks night one, like outside of
Brunson.
Yeah, Brunson. Thank you. Outside of Brunson, that roster's mostly stuck together throughout the years. The team that we played, New Orleans, like that roster, they went and added Zion back in for the most part. A lot of those guys, are pretty familiar to each other. That Oklahoma City team, I mean, even though there's like a lot of young guys on that roster too, I mean, that's like a well-oiled run system that's been going for years. I think overall, are the Pistons going to make the playoffs? Probably not. And we'll get to that in the over-under section.
Yeah.
Over-under playoff appearances, one. But I do believe that, there were those flashes of Jalen Duren, even though there was like the foul issues, he had double-digit rebounds every night on limited minutes. He had moments where, he was able to protect the rim and had some moments on defense where he was able to, stay in front of younger guards. There's a lot of things there I'm optimistic about. And even then, like someone calling Cade like the best of mid, or like thinking that he's not going to be able to get it together. It's like, I don't know if I'm the only person that remembers that Cade dropped 27 points in one half against Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving like 5 months ago, but like, it feels like I'm the only one sometimes. Like personally.
That was ridiculous. People like trying to say Cade is a bust and stuff. I'm like, get out of here. Like, we just need the regular season to start because people are acting goofy.
Yeah, for sure.
Panicked.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, I mean, and like you said, I mean, we saw John Morant highlight. I think we saw tonight, like, Jaden Ivey, he has flashes of greatness in him, but like, there's a long distance between, being a rookie guard coming in your first day and then John Morant, who's one of, if not arguably the best point guard alive right now. I mean, he's just sensational. So, all in all, I think tonight, obviously a tough loss, but Orlando on Wednesday, and from there, the games will count for real. But with that, I think it's time that we get to the meat of what we're here and what we're really here to do. And that JD's rubbing his hands. He's like, I'm ready to go. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the beginning of the Pistons over under competition. So with that, JD, I do kind of want to allow you the opportunity to set this up like real quick. You talked a little bit about how you can get people to participate and potential prizes and stuff. My friend, the floor.
So the contest will be run on a message board, which is the Detroit Pistons forum. Used to have a easy web address, and about 3 or 4 years ago, the site went down, and the guy who runs it brought it back up, and now it's like a bunch of random letters and numbers. Yeah. So I will be posting after this. I'll be posting a link on Twitter to the contest. You have to, I guess, you create a profile there. The contest is free. there's going to be, I will be going through the rules, but there are going to be 33 questions and then a couple of bonus questions.
Mhm.
You cut and paste. You fill out your thing on that chat thread, so I have a record of it.
Mhm.
You have up until tip off next Wednesday, the season opener, to make your picks or change your picks if somebody gets hurt between now and then or whatever, and you might want to alter things. And let's see, the last couple of years I've given away 2 nosebleed seats to a Pistons game. I have a little bit of money, but I don't have that kind of money to get you down low. But you'll be at a Pistons game, and I know Kool-Aid is putting together some stuff with Woodward Pistons that you might get some other good stuff from. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be worth your while, and it's fun to brag on Twitter, right? Everybody likes to be right on Twitter.
Oh, heck yeah.
Who brags on Twitter now? I mean, come on.
People
Maybe
tend to
I
don't
just
bring up
follow the wrong people.
people tend not to bring up when they themselves are wrong on Twitter, though. I don't know why.
Hey,
Oh, yeah,
no. I take my L's the same way I do my W's. Okay.
Hey, I said
I'm
people
loud and
tend
proud
to.
no matter what I do.
We're not all
Y'all know that.
perfect Miss Lexi here, okay? I just said
Like,
some of us.
I'm just saying, if you dish it, you
I
gotta take it. You know what I
do.
mean?
You
Like,
do.
So for tonight, I'm going to present each category one at a time, and I'd like to get, depending on time, and Sean, you can kind of keep people on a clock if you want.
Oh, heck yeah.
Opinions on the category, and then I'm going to show what the number is. And we'll just take turns. I'll get your expert opinions.
That sounds great.
And we'll see. People in the chat can comment too. And then, like I said, at the end of it all, I'll post a link on Twitter. You can see my @JD's Sports tweets.
Yep.
And you'll find me. All right. Anything else?
No, perfect. Let's dive right into it.
Now I got to figure out if I can share my screen. The big test.
Oh, you should be able to. I get to grant that permission to you.
All right. Let's give it a try.
Here we go.
Oh, let me see. Window. There we go.
Perfect.
Is it happening? I did click something.
I heard it click, but I don't see anything.
Chrome has lost permission to capture your screen. Oh, you bastard.
Well, while he gets that pulled up,
Talk amongst yourselves, people.
Yeah, while we get this working, I did see someone say in the comments earlier, and they said the Pistons are going to be in the Wembanyama sweepstakes, and that's not an insult. I'm curious, to hear what your guys' thoughts are. I personally don't see, even if the Pistons start losing games, I don't see them going in the direction of a tank this season where they try to position themselves further into getting someone like Victor Wembanyama. But I would love to know what your guys' thoughts are. Do you see the Pistons being in the conversation for the number 1 pick next year? Or what do you guys think?
I think you just have to look at it practically. I have no problem at all if they're trying to win with the core they have right now. And if that's not happening around January and February, especially past the trade deadline, I totally understand if they decide to scale it back and do what they did the last couple of years, which is go, because if you're in no position to play for a playoff spot, then what are you really playing for? Like at that point, yeah, I get it. But we're a long ways away from them. We're 50 games minimum away from them pulling the plug on anything, unless this team just gets hit with a rash of serious injuries. So I think that's a little premature for right now.
Yeah, I'd agree with you too. I know it's going to be a topic of conversation, especially like if and when the Pistons start losing some more games. I know that's certainly something that we'll be bringing up more and more. I will say, I mean, if he somehow ended up being a Piston, I would not be opposed. I would not say no. But
everyone would love that.
I'd be cool with that.
I'm gonna be honest though.
Yeah, and
I don't think
shout out Apollo in the comments with the brick for Vic. Start that hashtag.
Brick for Vic.
Oh,
my
Brick for Vic.
Oh my gosh. Sorry.
I
What
don't
do you
think
say,
the
Knox?
NBA would allow Detroit to have allow us to have another number 1 pick. I think that they would just do anything in their power to make sure that doesn't happen.
They did that for Minnesota. Why not us?
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't have it since what, 74 or something before?
Well, I
70.
think the issue is more that San Antonio doesn't have a point guard, so they're clearly far
Yeah.
away and
San
ahead of
Antonio's-
everybody else in the tank.
For
race.
sure.
Yeah.
But the harsh reality is the Pistons could go 0-82 this season, and they would still only have a 1 in 7 chance of landing the number 1 pick. So let's even in a perfect tank like they did last year. Like last year, they had the same exact odds of getting the first pick as the year before when they did get the 1 pick, and last year they dropped to 5. It is all blind luck, even if you were absolutely god awful.
Right. I mean, even even when the New Orleans Pelicans, for example, when they got the number 1 pick a couple of years ago, they weren't one of those bottom teams. They were actually one of those, just outside the playoffs teams, one of those bubble teams that, those changes to the lottery benefited. Right. So I think the whole point is, Detroit doesn't necessarily have to, try to lose this season. They can still go out and, improve and focus on getting better every day. And they might still They might still be in the position to bring someone from the lottery back to Detroit.
Yeah.
That would be tantalizing. But with that, folks,
Just
we'll
to
talk
interrupt,
about that.
you are seeing the screen, right?
Oh, of course. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Everyone's seeing it. Yep.
Yeah, we're good now.
Just
Yep,
had to confirm.
100%.
That it's not just me.
So, ladies
All
and
right.
gentlemen, with that, it is now time, as I'm getting my guy Kool-Aid into the stream.
Oh,
It is
perfect.
now time for the Pistons Over Under contest. JD, let's get this party started, man.
All right. And so these are the rules. So if you're new, all these categories are Pistons related. So if I ask wins, I'm talking about our guys. Also, the questions are regular season questions unless otherwise stated. And I think everything is regular season as I did it. Totals for the players are only while they're with the Pistons. If somebody gets traded, that's the end of their stats that are being kept. Every right answer gets 10 points. If there's a push on a category, on the percentage categories, I'm not even sure if I might have fixed it, but if there's a push, 5 points. You got to enter on the forum, like I said, posting the link. Entries are due right before tip-off. Cut and paste your answers once I list them out. 33 questions, and then there's bonus question that's 20 points. And there is always a gimme. And last year I had to sweat it because George Blaha made me wait. George Blaha made me wait a lot to say that Corey Joseph is a pro's pro. But he did it. It was like in January.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So if you guess the gimme question wrong, you get a negative 25. And triple doubles, turnovers are not part of a triple double, even if you get double turnovers. And if anything happens like the preseason, that could happen to somebody, but hopefully not. Hopefully they got that all out of their system in the preseason. So there we have it. Let's do category 1. And sorry, I'm just going to keep it on this
Hey,
version of the
Do what you
slideshow.
got to do.
Wins.
Pistons
So
wins.
they won 23 games last year. I think Vegas has them at like 28.5.
29.5 is
29.
I was going to say 29.
I think Bojan.
Mine.
Okay, so this is where you guys can chime in.
Man. So
So Lexi, you're thinking right on the Vegas line?
29 and a half.
Okay.
I literally was like saying it as Sean was saying.
I know I'm actually 100% with her on this because I could, gun to my head, 29 or 30 wins would probably be my guess. I'm hoping that this seems the way the roster is right now, the way they're playing this seems like a 29-31 team.
All right.
Yeah.
And Steve, your thoughts?
I'll take the under. I was just talking to the boss, or he's messaging us some slack at DBB, and they were saying 26. Does 26 seem too low for this? I think 25. I know it's just a couple, but I think 25 is where it is because I think there's a couple of us are still the mindset that Bojan, Nerlens, these vets that can be expired, get traded and be helpful to somebody else. That probably affects the win total a little bit.
Okay. And Sean?
Yeah, I'm going to go with 32 wins. I think the goal this season is to take it to the next step, to try your best to be as competitive as you can be all throughout the season. And I think the goal is, to put yourselves in position to compete as much as you can for a potential, play-in or possible playoff spot. I think taking that next step and getting over the 30 win mark would be something that would be, significant. It's a little harder to make that prediction after the preseason's gone at some points. However, damn it, don't call me overconfident. I'm going with 32.
All right. Once again, I've surprised myself because I thought I was being pessimistic. And I put the line at 32.5.
Ooh.
So,
Man, I was the most optimistic one.
Yeah.
I went.
My logic was we haven't seen how Burks and some of the other guys might factor in. Yeah. So I thought somebody was going to jump over because there's been some hype. Maybe the hype was like a month ago, like right when we got Bojan.
Right.
Now it's tampered a bit. But,
hey, no one generates hype quite like Bojan Bogdanovic. That's what I'm saying. People are showing up to watch that man.
The last 2 weeks.
Sorry?
I said we're all kind of prisoners of what's happened the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We'll move on. Triple doubles for Cade.
Ooh.
And I will say he had 2 last year.
Man. So this is a tough one because you could go many different avenues with this one. I personally think Cade, if I were to track it and put it anywhere, I'm gonna say 6 to 7 triple doubles this year. I think he gets that number up. I think we're gonna see, we've seen Cade is all around the box score almost each and every night. He was that way even his rookie year. So I think him getting that number up, not something that's like, overly unreasonable, because again, I know people saw Russ average a triple double, a few years in a row and thought that was just normal. It's not. It's very much not. So I think 6 or 7's a little bit more reasonable. I'm going to go 7 just for the sake of posterity for rounding up. I'm going 7.
All right. And Keith?
All right. So I'm kind of with Sean. I'm very confident that Cade is going to have an uptick in his production from last season. He should. It's going from year 1 to year 2. I do think there are going to be some nights, though, where he gets into foul trouble because it doesn't look like he's really shed that yet. And his minutes aren't big enough for him to put up that triple-double number. Also, I think he's going to have some games where maybe Jaden Ivey just isn't making anything, or Stewart's cold for 2 or 3 quarters. And he should have a triple-double, but he doesn't. So the number I actually had in my head was 5.
Okay.
I like it.
Anybody else want to chime in on that?
I was going to say 5 too.
Well, I believe in Cade no matter what. I'll always be Cade's hype man. I say 15. He has 3 lob threats now with Duren, with Noel, and with Marvin Bagley. He loves the lob. That's his favorite pass. So I think the assist numbers are going to go up just based off of that. The rebounding is where I think we might be in trouble, because if they do end up going Duren and Stewart, then that kind of takes away his rebounding things. But if they do keep it where Bojan is at the 4 or where Sadiq is at the 4, I think he has more chances for rebounds there. But I'll go 15 because, like I said, I believe in him. And especially with those 3 lob threats, I think the assists in particular will go up.
I like it, Steve.
I put the line at 5.5. Oh, I keep forgetting. To give the tribute that it's all about the teal, right, this year. So
look at you.
Yeah, I'm not a proponent usually, but I do wear teal.
That is a great line.
I can accept defeat. Like Lexi said, she can take an L. I'll take an L too on the teal.
I can't wait to get that teal jersey. Livers.
All right.
For reference, Cade tonight in just 28 minutes, 15, 6, and 6, and that is with his teammates shooting what were the hell were they from 3? Like
15 for
52. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Whoa.
If we take out Cade, that's 13 for 44. That's amazingly bad. So yeah, I think there will be some nights like that will kind of rob him of the triple double.
Yeah, I mean he led his rookie class in potential assists. He did not lead his rookie class in actual assists, and I think there's a big reason why there. So I definitely think we'll see that number climb this year for sure.
All right. Next category. And if you want to do a Baja voice or get
Duran with the dynamite jam.
there we go.
Count that baby in a foul. He listen, oh my gosh, he's gonna this number is gonna be astronomical. I feel like I feel like we just off putbacks alone, we could have an entire category just off of Jalen Duran putbacks. I mean, his intensity above the rim, his ability to catch lobs. I think eventually we'll be looking at Jalen Duran in a few years and recognizing him as one of the more ferocious dunkers we have in this league.
Mm-hmm.
What are your guys' thoughts?
There's still the question, although Steve is on the hashtag start Duran, but there's still the question of, is he going to get the kind of minutes that it's, that obviously with Bagley out, that opens up a lot of opportunity for the first few weeks. But I feel it's going to be interesting. But yeah, what were you going to say? I thought somebody was chiming in.
Yeah.
Steve? No, like, Jalen Duran, like today he played 19 minutes. But people need to realize if this was a regular season game, he would have played 7 because he was in foul trouble immediately. And in the regular season, Casey's not going to let him play the first quarter with 2 fouls. He's not going to let him play the second with 3 fouls. Look, he has such an uphill climb to get minutes on this team, even with Bagley out, at least to me. But I'll tell you what, though, have we seen him make a basket this preseason that wasn't a layup or a dunk? So
no.
So like he made like one little jump hook maybe in the first
So to me, this category is almost tied to how many minutes you think he's going to get. Because if he plays, he's gonna get his share of dunks. But shoot, I don't know if he's gonna play all that much. I'm thinking,
that's the catch-22 right there, isn't it?
That's why it's a category.
So say he gets in 45, 50 games for like 5, 6, 7 minute stretches, which would be great. I don't know, maybe 35 dunks, 40.
I like it. Steve, what about you? Are you around that same number, or do you thinking higher? I mean, I could see, like, as far as like Duran dunks, I mean, this could easily be in the 40s, 50s, 60s for me.
Yeah, I'll say 50 because I do think at the beginning of the year they're still working out chemistry. Like you've seen people try to throw him lobs that he wasn't ready for, or that it wasn't like a play they ran. So I think in the beginning of the year that's going to happen. He's obviously going to be in foul trouble because he's a rookie big man. Of course, he's going to be in foul trouble. And again, he and Beef Stew are continuing the tradition of the refs hating Detroit big men. So that's just going to keep on going. But I think once the All-Star break happens, he'll get more minutes because I think like Noel or somebody else will get moved to where he's going to be in there more. And at that point, too, they're probably out of it. So they're just like, forget it. Just let him get in there and he'll up his dunk. So I'll say 50.
I like it. Lexi, do you have any thoughts on that as well?
Yeah, I was thinking it was probably going to be like mid 40s at the most. Because the minutes played keep me a really good player.
Oh.
I like it. But ladies and gentlemen, we finally got my guy Kool-Aid to work. I was trying to simultaneously troubleshoot all this and host at the same time. We got it to work though. Kool-Aid, it's so good to see you, my friend.
Hey, it's good to see you guys, man. It's good to see the whole panel. JD, I'm glad we were able to finally get this thing figured out. But hey, let's get to it. Let's
absolutely.
We've only missed
a
few.
Yeah, we've only missed a few. Right now, we're going through, and we're on the Pistons Over Under contest, and we're looking at Duran dunks. You were there in person tonight, Kool-Aid. He threw down a few while you were there.
Yes, sir.
You think and currently we have the number at 59.5 dunks for Duran this season. What are your thoughts?
Wow.
As the beat reporter, as the man who was in the building.
Man, 59. JD, he does this every year.
They're supposed to-
I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna go over.
Ooh, you
Okay.
think you can
Alright.
go over?
I am. I do. I think with the amount of rebounds he's going to get, his proficiency to get the putbacks very, very quick. And as he gets more comfortable in the pick and roll lob game, I could see there being at least a couple dunks a game.
Most
All right.
certainly.
A game, yeah.
This might be one of the most fun categories to watch in general throughout this whole year for sure.
Oh, definitely.
I'm excited for this one. What do you got next for us, JD?
We got 30-point or more games for Ivy.
Ooh.
So, and point of reference, Cade had only 2, but again, Cade missed a bunch of games. So,
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Jaden Ivey is a guy that, I mean, as we've seen, you know, at 1 minute he can explode, you know, the next minute he can struggle, right? I think especially just being a rookie, you know, he's going to have nights where, you know, he looks comfortable. There's going to be nights where, you know, he looks to be pressured, right? So I think for him setting the expectation reasonably, I will say, I think he could potentially have more than Cade in his rookie year just because of at the sheer volume and how heady of a scorer he can be as far as like how streaky specifically. So I would say to at least expect a couple. I'm going to go 2 or 3 myself if I had to make a line for it. That's where I go. What are you guys' thoughts? Keith, what about you?
And I want that. I'm going to go 1. I think that Jaden Ivey, because he is in the game to score the ball first and foremost. We've seen him pass a lot in preseason, but that's simply because he's drawn so many defenders he doesn't have a choice. But when he puts the ball on the floor, he's looking to put the ball in the basket. The problem is I don't think he's quite efficient enough yet as a shooter or as a mid-range player. I think he'll have one game probably at the end of the season where you get some lax transition defense and he just explodes. I think he could go for 40 in a game. I just don't think that in a serious game he's going to have a game where he imposes his will on a set defense and scores 30 plus. So I would say 1, maybe 2 for the entire season.
Keith, I think that's a realistic expectation.
I think he'll have a lot of 20-point games. I do think that. Like if this was a 20-point category, I would be pretty bullish on it.
Oh yeah, for sure. But 30 points, Lexi, for a rookie, that's a tall task.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to say he's going to have more than what Cade did, and I'll just kind of like leave it at that for now. But I think that the potential is there, and I think there's going to be plenty of mid to high 20-point games, you know. But I just think getting over that 30 mark, you'd say like no more than 2.
Yeah, I mean it's a tall task. I mean, there's a reason why leading scorers in the game don't even average 30 points in a game, right?
Sure.
But JD, go ahead and show us, my friend. Where do you have the number set on this one?
Boom.
2.5. I like it. Steve, do you think that's unrealistic? I mean, Steve, you had Cade at 15 triple doubles. Jaden Ivey's got to have at least 10 30-point games, right?
Well, I was gonna say 3 because I think, like, again, by the end of the year, maybe Cade gets shut down. I think there are going to be nights where they're just kind of out of it, and especially that post All-Star break. There'll probably be times where they're like, just let him get out there and run and do his thing all game. But I'll say 3 because I think like there'll be times when it's just kind of his show, especially at the end of the year.
Yeah, most certainly. I like that. I like that. And I think too, like it just shows, you know, like the talent of this kid that, you know, this number's at 2.5 at all. Like any rookie, you know, in general coming in and scoring a 30-point game is almost unheard of. So for him to, you know, even have that possibility, I have a feeling we might have over the next couple of years, I think we're going to have a very similar night that Sadiq had in Orlando with Jaden Ivey in a couple of years. But that's just my opinion. Let's go to the next category. What we got next? Ooh, made threes for beef stew. I like it. JD, do we know, like, I mean, obviously, like last year, he didn't really hit much. I know that end of the season, he was like, I know he made like 18 of his like final 27 threes, I believe.
Yeah, on the season, he hit 15 total.
Okay, so not many, but I have a feeling, you know, with his, you know, with the fact that he's been working on a shot more this season, it was something that he put, you know, more towards last year. Chuck went 120. I don't know if I go that far, but I mean, I
Pass
think
it over here, Chuck.
yeah, Chuck, pass the ball somewhere else. God dang.
Oh, no, I wasn't talking about a ball.
Oh,
but
no, listen, man, I'm tired, man. Oh my gosh.
It's all
But,
good.
oh my gosh. But I think realistically for beef stew, I might go, you said he had 15. I think I'm gonna go 55. An even 55. I think that's like a solid improvement. I don't see, even with Isaiah Stewart looking to add the 3-point game to his repertoire, I still don't think that means taking more than a few attempts a night. I don't know, like I said, he's not going to shoot more than like, I wouldn't imagine like more than 5 or 6 3-point shots in a game for Isaiah Stewart, and even then that might be pushing it. Do you agree with me at all, Keith?
All right. Well, see, here's the thing. Isaiah Stewart we've officially transitioned him to stretch big. That is been pretty loud and clear, which means his 3-point attempts are going to go they're not just going to go up, they're going to go way up. I see him attempting 4 or 5, probably 5 would be the average. And if you figure he's going to shoot under 40%, Mike, hopefully 35, I think everyone would call that a win this year if he shot 35% for 5 threes a game. So doing the math on that equals out to what, like 100, 110, something like that, just in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So that's actually, I would put the line at, assuming he plays the whole season, and Stewart has been pretty durable.
Mm-hmm.
I would say 115, which would be more than pretty much every Piston made last year, except for Sadiq. That would be a lot.
It'd also be more than Isaiah Stewart's attempted so far in his career. So to give perspective, Isaiah Stewart, through his first 2 seasons, in his rookie year, he shot 63 attempts from beyond the arc. In his sophomore season, he actually went down. He went from 63 attempts to 46. So I would imagine that that's not going to stay the same. Steve, what about you? Do you expect that 3-point arsenal to be something that we see from him on a regular basis? Do you expect that number to be up there like Keith, or are you more in my area where you're kind of trying to not trying to be a little like middle of the road?
Okay, so I've been thinking about this for a long time. We talked about this a couple of times ago. Pascal Siakam is somebody we thought about in terms of beef stew. If they made like a jump in wins, it would be a Pascal Siakam type jump from him. Siakam didn't really make threes his first 2 years. 22.0% was in his second year. He took 132 of them. The next year he took 214. He made 79 of them, which was 36.9%. So I'm going to go more than Siakam because I do think he's going to put it up. Like Siakam only averaged like 2.7. This is in their title year when they won the title. So he's more of like, the defensive guy off the ball, not really a primary scorer quite yet. Which I think Stu is going to get more pick and pop opportunities than Siakam got. So I'll go like 85 made threes, I think. And I think even if he makes them at like 33.3%, that's a win because, again, this is his first time really doing it, being a stretch big too. So if it's above 30%, I think it's a win because it's in the right direction.
Right, for sure. I was just about to ask Kool-Aid if he was still with us, and that answer is no. So with that, Lexi, I will go to you next. Do you think, I know, seeing Isaiah Stewart's shot over the summer and just seeing what he's done, during this season as well. Are you thinking that number is going to be pretty high this season as well?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'd be necessarily as high as what was stated when I made that comment, but I was thinking probably 75 to 80. But the potential's there. If he's as hot as a streak as he was towards the end of the last season, then yeah, I mean, 110, 15, 20 isn't too far out of a stretch, but a little bit at a time. I'm going to say 80.
Right. And joining us from his home setup now, my guy, Brandon, a.k.a. Hold on, I got to do this right. My guy, Brandon, a.k.a. Cool.
Let's get it. Man, fresh in from the arena. We had a good time tonight, guys.
Hey, look at that.
We had a
Speaking
good
of-
time. We had a
speaking
good
of
time.
guy
Hey,
that was
we had a
very
good
building.
time covering the game. There were things that I wish were better from the team. And Casey talked about it in talking about these made threes for Stu. He actually talked about that in the press conference.
Yeah, we actually
they
showed
asked him,
we
you know,
actually
hey,
showed one of your quotes from Stu himself talking about how he's looking to keep shooting and that he was liking the
Yeah.
looks he had tonight.
yeah, he says he practices this. He said him and his trainer, he said, this is what I do. I'm going to shoot them. And I hope that the team ultimately just makes sure that it's rhythm looks, you know, not looks that are kind of gonna start to develop bad habits and things of that nature. I'm hoping the stuff that's within the flow of the offense, you can live with those misses, especially if he's gonna show to be somewhat of a streaky shooter. Streaky shooter's not a bad thing. That means that there's gonna be periods where it's like, hey, you know what, let's refrain. Then there's gonna be times where he's hitting 1, 2, 3 threes in a row, or you know, 2 out of 4, 3 out of 5, like we saw tonight. Started the game slow, you know, 0-4, and then wound up going 40% from 3-point line tonight. So it's going to be an interesting thing. I know that he's supposed to be incorporated into the offense to be able to take those looks. You saw Memphis was daring him to take those looks tonight.
Yeah.
They were literally just sitting there looking at him, just kind of lunging from the free throw line. You know, so it's going to be interesting. With that said, though, I don't know how many threes.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, so to give some perspective, Kool-Aid. I said this before you came in, and I'll say this again. Isaiah Stewart's taken a total of 103 attempts in his career from beyond the arc. So, you know, this year obviously will be a little bit more. But JD, my friend, the number you have is 50.5. So you were
I will
thinking
say I
similar
did
lines
put that
that I
number up
was.
before tonight, but
I think we could have that by February.
You think you could get there by
it could happen.
February?
I mean, I just don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
If it's something that doesn't work out well in October
Yeah.
and November, do they? I mean, there were
they
years
stick
where
with
he
it?
thought Andre was going to be shooting threes, and he did for about
Right.
2 weeks. I think Stewart's got a lot better touch than Andre, except for that Bulls game last week where Andre hit like 3 in a row. Shocking. Yeah, I just don't know how patient they'll be with that. So I put the number lower than what a lot of you guys picked.
For sure.
Yeah,
Hey, and that's totally okay. I mean,
You can always bet the over.
yeah. Hey, this is why you get the expertise from us, right?
Mhm.
You can ultimately make a decision. We got a lot more to get through though, so let's go
Yes,
to the
sir.
next one.
Okay.
JD, what do we got?
So this one, at least I'm interested in it because last year he worked a lot at being, you know, not just a shooter, not just a 3-and-D guy. And Keith may have something to say about the defense part. I've noticed he's been critical of
He is a 3 guy right now.
yeah. But last year he was working at getting shots inside, inside the paint and just mid-range and driving. And it seemed to me like a lot of the time he had the move, but couldn't finish it. And he ended up shooting just over 45% from 2 last year. And that was good for 19th on the team. And the only regular rotation player that shot worse from 2 than him was Killian. So I'm curious to see if he improves on that. That's why I made it a category. That's a long story.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting one. I think for me, I definitely think consistency has got to be the key for Sadiq across the board this year. And so I think for 45%, and that's about where he was his rookie year as well. The only thing that changed was he did go up in attempts and did maintain around that same efficiency. I feel like this year, if he stays around that same attempt number that he had last year, and he can work on his efficiency and getting that up, I think that would be ideal. I personally am going to go around 49% on this one. I think for each category, I'm going to ask for a couple people's opinions just for the sake of time. Yeah. Steve, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Sadiq's my guy. He goes up every year. I'll give him 50. I'll say he goes 50%. I think just having more shooters around will help a little bit. And then Ivy to take some pressure off. And he worked on his passing too. So I think being able to, dish out guys and just know and understand how to attack a little bit more as even a secondary creator. I'll say 50%.
Yeah. And then Keith, since you have opinions on Sadiq's defensive game, I want to know what your thoughts are on his offensive game. Do you think he improves on his efficiency inside the arc this year?
As long as he's looking to score, I absolutely love Sadiq Bey. All right, so I think maybe that his field goal percentage from last year was a little misleading because I recall he had a lot of really outings, and I think that early last season, and I think a lot of that had to do with the personnel that was out there. I don't think he and Jeremy Grant really meshed as well. And I know as soon as Jeremy Grant was kind of shelved, I think Sadiq played much better. So I am going to, I don't know, 50%. I would say 49. I think it'll be an incremental increase, but it wouldn't surprise me if he went over 50.
I like that. What's the line at? We're at 47%. About, if you round it up, where that's about 47%.
If he gets 47, then that's the over. So I
Yep.
go to 3 or 4 numbers, whatever.
Okay, perfect. So that's where the line, I feel like that's pretty realistic. I think setting it like a little bit above where it's at, I think setting the expectation that that number should go up, right? I mean, and as you said,
It'll be a
19.
significant improvement for going from 45 to 47. So
Right.
And I actually think this category is kind of linked to our last one because if a lot of that's going to depend on how many paint times he can score in the paint, and if Isaiah Stewart's out there drawing the defense and creating a lot more spacing than there was last year, that's going to cause his numbers to go up as well.
Absolutely. My guy JD, what do we have next?
jumping in.
Games.
This one, credit to Keith. He suggested it. Is he going to be? They do play OKC twice, so he loves them.
Man, you
needs
are
to get
wrong for
Thunder.
this. Oh my gosh. You want me to be honest here? I'm gonna go like 5, like 4. I just at the end of the day, it would have to, like, Cade would have to be out of the lineup. Ivy would have to be out of the lineup. I just, it's like, even for Killian, like with his aggressiveness. I mean, Kool-Aid, you and I have talked about that all summer. I mean, when he's aggressive, it's great. But most shots on the team for one night, that just doesn't seem like someone's going to have him that often this year, right?
I don't know, actually, man. This is one that makes it. This year is a little bit more interesting. KC has already come out and started talking about the 3-guard rotation. And in the 3-guard rotation, I used to assume it was just going to be Killian Hayes playing the point guard. But what they tried to show all offseason is that Killian Hayes can also play the off guard as well. They run these sets where Cade might start with the ball, and then they do a dribble handoff and then a pass, and all of a sudden Killian has the ball. And it's really, if you're open, shoot. If Isaiah Stewart's going to get the opportunity to well away at 3, I wouldn't be surprised to see Killian Hayes lead this team a little bit more in terms of field goal attempts. Not that it's going to be anything crazy, but yeah. I believe it's going to be definitely over.
Yeah. Lexi,
I believe definitely over.
what do you think?
Yeah, I was gonna say too. I mean, hopefully, I feel like they mentioned, whoever mentioned earlier, that if everyone is out, this is probably when it's gonna be happening, and hopefully things don't ever get that gloomy, or maybe things are great and he's in there with more minutes. Who knows? But I'm gonna say over. I was gonna say 2 or 3.
Because who's on that second lineup that's going to be taking shots away from him? He's going to get a few shots when he's in the lineup with Cade and Ivy. And we actually saw that in the preseason where through the first couple games that he played, he was tied for the lead. And he wasn't taking an exorbitant amount of shots. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he was forcing anything. It was, if he hits them, he's going to get a few more to go in that game. So I don't know, man. I'm a lot bullish on this one.
Yeah, well, JD, you're not. You haven't had 1.5.
Hey, that's more than 0. I don't think
Yeah.
I'm not sure he led the team in field goal attempts in any game last season.
Might
Yeah,
have been
he
just that OKC,
Maybe that
OKC
OKC
game.
game.
Trump said
Yeah,
it that game in Oklahoma City last season. He shot the ball
Okay.
55 times.
Look, do you
All right.
guys know who's second in field goal attempts right now on the team through
Probably
preseason?
Killian.
In the
Killian
preseason?
Hayes. He's
Yeah.
tied with Killian, Jaden Ivey, and Cade Cunningham. Sadiq Bey is
All
number
right.
1 with 35 attempts right now.
All right,
Yeah,
hit
that
that
doesn't
over.
surprise
That's that 3-guard rotation coming into play, man. I'm telling
All
you
right.
guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it.
Next one up
Starts for liver.
starts for livers. Does he get put into
All of
the
them. I'm just kidding. No.
Listen, I think he's going to get the chance.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if he's going to start, I think it's going to, it's going to come from the injury bug at some point, right? I mean, like Sadiq was one of 2 players in the league last year to play 82 games. The likelihood of that happening 2 years in a row is not high. So if we need someone to fill in, Isaiah Livers is in theory the perfect backup to Sadiq Bey, just because of the way that he can come in and fill the lineup in that sense. I think, especially at that 4 spot with someone there like Bojan Bogdanovic, and Marvin Bagley as well. I think that spot's just too contentious to reliably get starting minutes there. I think ultimately though, I do think Livers will have the chance. I have a hard time seeing it being anything over single digits. What about you, Steve?
I'm just putting the lineup just to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have much to say other than maybe at the end of the year, like if they shut everybody down, he can get like 10. But
right,
if I had to just guess, like everybody plays 0. If I'm being real, love you, Livers, go blue.
Yeah. And Lexi, I mean, you're super high on Isaiah Livers, but I mean, and we all are too. But just the reality of it, I mean, especially with the Bojan trade, it just makes him starting just that much more difficult, right?
Realistically, and I'm even being a little optimistic, I was going to say 10.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, he's gonna have a big part in this rotation this year. That's for sure. What's next, JD?
Oh, you'll love this one.
Oh, I'm ready. Yes.
Hey! He had a buzzer beater tonight.
He did.
Second quarter or
did.
whatever, third quarter. One of those.
Planting that seed.
It ain't Kobe, it's Kojo, baby. That's what's up.
He hit one last year in Sacramento, right? Am I misremembering that?
Yeah. He played. He did. Yeah, he did make a buzzer beater in Sacramento. That's right. It was a game winner. It wasn't a buzzer beater, but it was a game winner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just gonna be real with y'all. I got this one at 0. I just do.
I hope so.
I got it 1. I feel like the line might be 1, so I'm with you, Sean. Or 0.5, so I'm with you, Sean.
I just don't want. I just don't want a world this season where the ball and Keith, tell me. I know 1. It's like you gotta throw 1 on there for posterity, but like
1's the over.
But what world? And Keith, maybe you can touch a little bit more.
Is that how that works?
Yeah, that's why it's got to be a half, so it's either above or below.
Yeah, that's fair.
Under.
Yeah, for me, I'm going under because in what world would you want the last shot to not be in the hands of anyone other than Cade, Ivy, or Sadiq?
Yeah, and
right?
why would you even want Kojo on the floor at this point? At the end of the game?
That's the thing. At this point, he might not even touch the court.
Probably happen, but you're trying to play yourself into a world where that isn't going to happen. God, I would love to bet because this is 90% chance this is Kojo's last season with the Pistons. It probably is. I would like to bet with my heart and say that he's going to go out with one last great moment, but I'm just not seeing it. No, they do play Sacramento again. Damn it. I'm going to go with 0. But damn it, Sacramento's his thing because they're the ones that dumped him here. So every time he plays them, it's
revenge game.
Yeah, for Sacramento, we'll give him that shot. All right, what's next?
All right. So basically, this is Bojan going to get traded or not? That's basically the question here. I'm not even. We'll go right to the line because it's a yes or no.
I'm going to go ahead and right now say my answer's over. I saw a lot of 0s here. I know some of the reporting around the trade was that Bojan was also looking for a place that was going to give him an extension. And so I think part of the trade was the idea of potentially extending Bojan. So Kool-Aid, are you along my thinking there?
Yeah, I think it's going to be over. I have this hunch that if he's going to be, I don't know, man, I think it's going to be over. I really do. I really think it's going to be over. I think he might be here. That extension just seems to be something I might, I don't know, that might be in his favor as a Piston.
Yeah, for sure. Steve, you immediately went with the O. You immediately said 0. Tell me why.
2 words, Trader Troy. That's it.
I like it. And speaking of, it looks like the next one might have to do with our guy Troy.
It might have to do with him.
Look at that in-season trades,
Can
guys. Going
he
into
chill
this
for a
season,
year or no?
man, that's interesting. Is this
In
the
season
year?
trades, that doesn't mean like how many people are traded, right? That just means how many
How
actual
many trades?
Yeah, it's a good.
How many trades he executes, not how many.
Like trades as in transactions, not as the amount of people being traded. Correct.
Right.
Yeah. So to me, I definitely like with Troy Weaver, you can't say zero. You just can't. The guy's consistently looking to make moves. I was just about to ask, does the Bojan count? And then my dumbass read the prompt again and realized the answer is no. But but anyway, listen, going into this year, Troy Weaver did say he liked the crew that he had. And, he likes the guys that we have, and he wants to, for the most part, see how they play together and how they stick together. But with that, Keith, do you think either way, like whether we're winning games or not, do you think the plan will still be for Troy to make some moves and be aggressive this season? Or do you think he's going to be waiting until that cap space hits?
I think Troy's MO has always been to strike when the opportunity presents itself. I don't know if I think he's comfortable waiting. Obviously, we've all seen that, but he's also comfortable making moves like we just saw with Bojan. I mean, what team that thinks they're going to be in the lottery next season trades for a guy like Bojan Bogdanovic? They don't, except when they think it's going to mean something to them down the road. So, look, I would put the over-under on this because, I think it's a given he's going to make at least one deal. And I think Hami Diallo is probably your odds-on favorite to get moved out. But, look, everyone thinks Bojan is going to be on his way out, but I'm kind of with Brandon. I disagree. I think they traded for him, like they said, with the knowledge that he probably won't help them in the playoffs this year because they won't be there. I think they traded for him with maybe thinking that in 2024 and 2025, he's going to be like a big player for them off the bench. He'll have that playoff experience. So I would go the under on this. I think we're just going to see one trade. I think it's going to be a silent deadline for Troy.
I mean, it's definitely. I mean, I think you're going to see a lot of teams, especially with Victor Wembanyama coming up, that are going to be looking to make some moves. I think personally, again, there's that gold pot of almost $80 million of cap space at the end of that rainbow, and I have a feeling that Troy Weaver is going to want to do everything in his power to make sure that stays the case, right? So I think they're ultimately going to look for some value there. But I think for the sake of time, just so we can get to some more of these categories, let's go to the next one, JD.
All
what
right,
do we
get
got?
your microphone ready for this one.
Oh boy. The windmill jam,
like,
the dynamite
jam.
dunk,
Sounds he
the
called
super
any dunk.
slam. Zero. He's never going to get it right. I've accepted it. George Blaha's a beautiful man. I love him so. He's not going to get it right. Steve, do you think this is the year we finally see? Wait, Keith, you think he's going to get it?
Keith believes.
Oh no, I read that wrong. I'm sorry. I read that category completely wrong. Yeah. Yeah.
I love this.
I think that says it all right there. There's no chance. There's no chance. And we love George.
Yeah. Look, bros, I remember I got to look for it on Twitter, but there was a time when someone actually did a windmill jam, and I tweeted, yo, he's going to actually do it. He's going to do it.
Then he didn't.
And then he just called it like a regular dunk.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
Oh, man.
I think it was
Oh,
Hami.
man.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call like a tomahawk or something?
I just
That's
remember
tomahawk
going. I
jam.
remember
Like, that
I
was the
went on
windmill.
Twitter to
Yeah, that was a
specifically see-
tomahawk one. Yeah, I remember that.
Yep. Yep. He was like, Hami with the tomahawk. It's like, it's a windmill. Oh my gosh. Anyway, before we raise our blood pressure too high, the next category. Times a Pistons.
Player of the week.
So I'm going to
Now-
go on a limb and say that we didn't have that honor this past year.
No, we did.
Did we?
Didn't Grant win it one week?
Yeah.
or-
No.
Yeah.
Wait, who? No, it was Sadiq Bey, wasn't it?
That's right. It was Sadiq. It was. Yep. Mhm.
Grant did it 2 years ago.
Yep, for sure. So this one's interesting because I know we've talked a lot, you know, Kool-Aid, you and I specifically have talked a lot about, you know, Cade potentially being an all-star year 2. I know a lot of people are, you know, we're saying dumb stuff, you know, about Cade during this preseason, but it still takes a lot for a player to win Eastern Conference Player of the Week. But if there's anyone that can do it, it's someone like Cade or Sadiq, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you see the runs that Cade Cunningham can go on as just an overall player. People seem to think sometimes he's struggling, then he makes a few shots, and you look up at the box score and realize, oh, he got 10, 5, and 5 at halftime. And it was just methodical, man. Cade is going to sneak up on some crazy box scores. That's what I think this year. And if he strings together a couple of those games, he's going to find himself getting at least one of those Player of the Weeks in the Eastern Conference. He can find a way to at least one. But his overall effect on the game, I know people worried about his struggles. He was doing different things. When Cade went to that mid-range in the third quarter, they couldn't stop him. They could not stop him from getting wherever he wanted to get on the floor.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Lexi? Do you foresee this honor being bestowed upon a Piston this year at all? Or do you think that we might be looking a couple years down the line until we have another Player of the Week?
No, I definitely think Cade steps up enough and gets it 1 week this year. I think that he's going to make a good leap, and I got faith in him. He's my guy, so I'm definitely saying over.
I like it. Now it is time for the next category. My guy JD, what we got for us?
This one's not as spicy, but
games played for Nerlens Noel. That's a tough one.
In the rotation, is he not?
And I mean, also even like just how much is he going to be available, right? I mean, over these last couple of years, Nerlens Noel's had some injury issues. I think this is a guy that Troy Weaver's been pretty high on. Just for the sake of context, these last 5 seasons, Nerlens Noel has played in 25, 64, 61, 77, and 30 games. So he does have some injury issues from time to time. But having said that, my guy Keith, do you think Nerlens Noel is going to be a regular part of this rotation? Do you think he's going to have an effect for this team on a consistent basis? Or do you think this team's more so looking to play a little bit more of their youth and Nerlens Noel's kind of there until the trade deadline and then we say deuces?
All right, well, if you would have asked me this 2 days ago, I would have said very little chance. But with Marvin Bagley out, I think there's an excellent chance for Nerlens not only to play but to start, because you're going to have him as the lob threat conceivably in the starting lineup. And Nerlens, you have to play drop coverage with him. He's not a switch guy, but if you do that, he is not just he is a great paint protector. And I know Dwayne Casey loves his defense. So, but on the other hand, I think he is right behind Hami in the odds-on favorite to get traded this season, especially around the deadline, because there's going to be a lot of teams looking for bigs like him. So, I would 25.5. I would comfortably bet the over because the deadline will be way past that.
Yeah, for sure. Steve, what about you? I know Troy Weaver is a Nerlens Noel fan. I know that they do have a relationship dating back to Nerlens and Troy's time in Oklahoma City. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Keith said it best before today. I don't know, or before Bagley got hurt, I don't know. But now that Bagley's hurt, I mean, I'd say probably 30-ish. I don't know how quickly Bagley will come back, but I'll say 30.
Yeah, for sure. I like that. I think overall, it's one of those ones it's hard to tell, but I like that category, JD. That's a tough one. I like it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. What's the next one? Double doubles for Bags.
For the other side of
Big Money Bagley, the guy. First of all, glad that we still get to keep this category in here. I was very worried the other day that we could have been fearing the worst on the injury side of things. Now that we know that it's only 3 to 4 weeks, I mean, Marvin Bagley from time to time can be a double machine.
He had three. He had 3 in his 11 games with the Pistons last.
Pretty good. 3 out of 11. That's not nothing. I mean, Kool-Aid, you know how high I am on Marvin Bagley and on his potential this season. Do you think that he could be a double machine for Detroit in the starting lineup or off the bench? Or Do you think kind of with the way that we have the team currently constructed, do you think his role, he's kind of more so out there, getting points on a consistent basis, not necessarily as much on the boards? What are your thoughts?
Nah, I think the boards are going to be a big part of his game. When I look at this team and just the lack of rebounding talent, whenever he's on the court, he's probably going to be the best rebounder on the floor. So I could see that being something really big, and he can score. If he gets time, a lot of time with Cade Cunningham, he's going to get his.
Yeah, for sure. Steve, what about you? I mean, Cade's at 15 triple doubles. So, Bagley, just looking, there's 82 games. So like 71 double doubles for Bags, you think?
Well, he's
but now he's going to miss some time. Yeah. This one's a hard one because it depends on how quickly he can come back from injury and if he's there. 82 games. I'd put it at 40. I'd say about half there just because if he gets the minutes that his contract says he should get, it's hard for him not to. He's one of those guys that rebounds so easily. It's not always just that he outjumps everybody. It's not just that he boxes out everybody. He really understands positioning and just like being in the right spot. So I would say like 40.
Mm-hmm. Woo. Wow.
I like it.
Obviously, I went a lot.
That's belief there.
Yeah, that's belief. That's not smashing the over. That's running it over and making sure you stop to make sure it was ran over. I like it though. I like it. But JD, what do you got with the next category?
Sure. I will say he never has averaged more than 7.6 rebounds a game in his career. So, who knows?
No.
Who knows? The more you know. And another unknown.
Man, Alec Burks. I feel like as for whatever reason, this guy, whenever he steps into the Pistons gym, where whether it's the Palace, the LCA, he just manages to light it up and cause us issues. So I personally feel like Burks is a guy in our lineup that can contribute pretty solidly day one. Keith, do you think games Alec Burks is the leading scorer? Do you think there will be nights we're going to be saying that this season?
Yeah, especially if you pay attention to how badly the Pistons bench has struggled in all 4 preseason games because they really haven't had that scorer, that guy that just give him the ball. I think Burks, people underestimate how important he is going to be to the success of this team, especially early on. He is a volume gunner, a professional volume gunner. He comes into games. He understands that role. He is very, very good. Actually, if you just include his 3-pointers, he's actually a very efficient scorer too. Look, he would have to outscore to the starters for this. I would say 3 or 4.
I like it. What about you, Brand? Kool-Aid, my guy. I know you've seen some Alec Burks in your time. I know I still shiver at night when I think of all the times that he's coming to Detroit and taking a game from us. Do you think he's going to have an effect scoring off the bench? Do you think he has that opportunity to have some games where he's leading the team in scoring?
Oh, yeah. I definitely think he's going to have the opportunity to. And Keith brought up a really, really good point here. We talked about what the Pistons would lose with Jeremy Grant being gone, and primarily it was on defense that we were talking about. But Jeremy Grant was a guy several times last season and beyond and before that the Pistons were able to take the ball, do something with it, do absolutely something with it. I don't know how much they have that guy on the team this year, like that absolute professional scorer that's going to be in the regular rotation. So I don't know, man. I think that there's an opportunity for Alec Burks to have a couple games. Like, what if there's a game where they're absolutely getting drudged and Alec Burks is getting minutes? Yeah, I could see him becoming the leading scorer of like a game or two like that. I got to go. If he's getting the minutes, I definitely want to kind of go over. I could see there being maybe 1 or 2 games where things either go super right for him or super wrong for the Pistons. And he just so happens to be, the last guy standing.
Yeah.
Look who's backing up too.
Where's Seki?
But look who he's backing up to.
Yeah, exactly.
A rookie who is going to have a lot of games where he just plays himself out of the rotation. So
even just that
a lot of games where he gets starters minutes.
even just that backcourt in general, Keith. I mean, even just, like two guys, like, I mean, I know Cade's like, we see him as like a steady hand, and he is, but I mean, he's still a year 2 player himself. I think just, like just the ability to bring in guys like Burks, who, like you said, he's just a professional scorer. This guy, like literally one of his nicknames is A Buckets because this guy's a bucket. So it's just what he does. But with that, JD, what else you got for us? Ooh, Pistons named to the All-Star team. Oh man. I mean, this really comes down. We all know where this is coming down to. Is Cade going to be an All-Star?
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's really the question. I mean, I know guys like Sadiq could possibly get there, but I think, especially year 2, I really could see, looking at Cade, I don't think All-Star game is out of the question for him. Lexi, do you think I'm crazy?
I want to say that, he's going to make that stride and do that. I just don't know if he's going to get the respect from it quite this season, so I'm going to have to say under on this season, but for sure next season.
Yeah, for sure. I like that. I mean, Steve, what about you? Do you think, I mean, with 15 triple doubles, he better be getting to the All-Star game.
No way, it's Detroit versus everybody, man. Always, it's gonna be 0. You know how it is. They don't give you respect until you win a title. That's how it works.
Hey, Steve, I feel that. Looking at this, 4/5 of a beautiful picture on my screen tells that story too, man. Tayshaun deserved at least one.
Exactly.
He
I
really
I can see K getting robbed, but I could also see him putting up decent enough stats if the Pistons aren't putrid to where they say, you know what, injury replacement, kind of like LaMelo Ball. There's definitely a path for him to get there. I don't think it's going to be this year, like Lexi said, but I believe he will be worthy. I think his stats will definitely be all-star caliber.
Yeah, I do also think in the East, there's Scotty, there's Evan Mobley. Like the league is already pushing them a little bit more. Mobley's obviously going to get more games that matter with Donovan Mitchell there. And then Scotty's already gotten the push by the league. I love Scotty, but, he got the Rookie of the Year in a questionable race. So there's 2 other guys in his same class that the league is pushing in terms of like media and stuff. So again, Detroit versus everybody now and forever.
I will say LaMelo Ball made it last year. So if someone from Charlotte can make it in a year or 2, anything's possible.
The Hornets were like a top 5 or 6 team in the East at the time, though.
Yeah.
It's Detroit versus everybody, Sean.
Yeah, I guess. But anyway, JD, what's next? Pistons and either the 3-point.
This one's interesting. This is JD, you're good at this, man.
Yeah, you are good at this because I mean, guys, at some point, Hami's got to come out and defend his dunk championship crown, right? It's got to happen eventually.
No, I thought Kojo would be in both of these.
Kojo will win both of these. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, exactly. We just keep him out of the dunk contest to keep it fair for everybody else.
He could be the guy that some other guy on the Pistons jumps over.
Don't overlook Bojan possibly in the 3-point contest if he and Cade and Ivy develop some kind of a chemistry where they're always looking for him on fast breaks.
That is true. Bojan can shoot it from beyond the arc. That would not. I mean, just thinking about. The dunk contest. I think almost anyone else on the roster, it's just unreal. I mean, the only way I could see like a guy like Jalen Duren being in the dunk contest is if he's just all over highlight reels. The starters.
Come on, no faith in Jay and Ivy.
I mean, Jaden Ivey's a stud. If he's going to be in anything though, like I would put him in like the skills contest.
I thought you was about to say 3-point shooting. I was like, whoa.
No.
I was still in the context of the slide.
I ain't drinking the Kool-Aid just yet, Kool-Aid.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I love him though.
Yeah, I mean, he can dunk it, but to me, I would see like the skills contest. That's just me personally. Maybe that's me bending the rules a little bit here, JD. I'm not sure if you counted that in.
Not a category.
Not a category. There we go.
But this one is, and this involves Jade.
There we go.
Ooh.
Are we going to get some respect from the referees?
I mean, Jaden Ivey showed it already in preseason, guys. He can get to the line. Like he, if there's anything he knows how to do is to draw fouls, get contact, and get to the line. Steve, you were shaking your head. you seem pretty firm on the Detroit versus everybody camp there. I think Cade will take a jump this year as far as attempts from the line, but do you think it's going to be a number that do you think it'll be a number that will benefit the team, or do you think this is something we could potentially see as like a room for improvement?
No, I think this is more of a ref thing because it's like Cade got so many missed calls last year. I don't know if he's going to get that respect. Ivy's a rookie. That's really dicey to say, like he's going to get a bunch of calls as a rookie, even though I do think he can get to the line a lot, and that's like his main thing per game. Yeah, so I'm looking at Russ and KD in their first year together, and let's see, KD had 7.1 per game, and Russ had 5.2. Like, I don't think that they can get to that level. I would say 8 is being generous. Maybe like 7 would be my thought. Just because, again, like the way Cade plays, it's not as forceful as Ivy to where he's knocking guys down or initiating as much contact as Ivy to where they have to scramble. And the refs have been slow to find that and like actually recognize, oh, that guy hooked him, or like, oh, that guy's bumping him. So yeah, I'd say 7, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's fair. For the sake of time, I know we have 33 total categories. Let's go to the next one. You already brought it up. Games with 3 or more 20-point scores. That's interesting, man. I feel like Detroit could be in a position this year, especially I think Cade, Ivy, and Sadiq, very, very well could combine for some points here. Keith, I'm going to go to you on this one. I know it's really tough to, think of the potential of guys, having that type of game. 5.5 is the line. Do you think that's a fair place to put it? Do you see that? Do you see there being nights where this is the case? What are your thoughts?
And I think we're kind of underestimating Marvin Bagley here if he comes back healthy, because that's a guy that's much like Sadiq, the game to score points and rebound second. But here's the thing. Usually when you have multiple guys having big games, usually it's 2 starters and 1 guy off the bench. So I think where you really want to look at is Isaiah Livers and Alec Burks. And there's enough depth on this team where you can see two starters and 1 bench player all going for 20 in the same game. I actually would go the over a little bit on this because I think the Pistons have a much better bench than they've shown so far, because they haven't played their full rotation yet. So I would actually go 7 or 8 games.
Yeah, and then even Bojan Bogdanovic too, a career 15-point a game guy. Just last year was 18 points a game as well. He's a guy on almost any given night who could go 20 or over as well. So I mean, Pistons have some professional scorers now, some that they didn't really have, as much of last year. So definitely going to be exciting to see him light it up in this category. But man, Pistons.
There's a record for you.
That is the record still to this. It's going to be a minute before that one gets broken. But Pistons team points per game.
And I'll just show the number.
That's fair. I know at one point this preseason we were averaging about 98 points per game, during this preseason. I don't know what our total was at last year, but I think this team, Lexi, when I'm thinking of like looking at the scoreboard, I know a lot of times when I would watch the Going to Work team back in the day, there would be times where it was like 60 or 70 points in a game, and you're like, man, that was they just
That's
had
when
them in the
defense
doghouse.
was like always played on both sides.
Oh yeah. But like, and like, even though this team, is rooted in defense, I think the other thing too, I think we just have a team that's looking to run out in the open floor a lot more too, right? So it almost seems to me like the scoring definitely could go up this year, right?
Yeah, they were at 104.8 last year.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then, this preseason, if we take anything from it, they're at 101.8 points per game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take the over on this because I think that just as the season goes on, they're gonna gel a little bit better, and we're just gonna hit some chemistry on that. So I'm gonna say it's gonna be over.
Yeah, I mean this team's definitely gonna have some potential to be out in the fast break too. So a lot of points coming this season, I think.
Yeah.
This one I might have set low coming up next.
Hey, that's okay. Oh man. Yeah, that's the thing. 10 or more
You're gonna go,
games. Man.
So this is
that Hammer
Just
that
all
over.
depends if he how much he plays.
Yeah, he's got to play.
Yeah, I think he's going to play. I think you can, you know, in my opinion, yeah, 15 and a half. I think, yeah, in my opinion, I think around, you know, if we're looking like being generous, realistic, I think you could say, you know, like there's a realistic chance this guy could almost be averaging double-digit boards in his rookie year. I mean, this guy looks to be a true rebounding talent. And, Greg Kelser brought it up on, on the broadcast. Steve, he talked about how, great Duran is as like a rebounding talent. You were going right there, just jacking up that. And if he goes up in the starting lineup like you want him to, he might have a lot of nights like that.
I mean, 19 minutes tonight, 12 rebounds. If he's playing them like around 20 a minute, 20 a game, like he's getting to 10 almost every night. If everything breaks right, he's like really great on defense, which is an anomaly for a rookie. I mean, double doubles are pretty much automatic for him. But that's way over. Way over on this one. I would just mash that over.
Really quickly before we go to the next category,
Sure.
Kool-Aid, you've seen him in person twice now.
Yeah.
What stands out when you see this guy in real life?
Jalen Duran to me has been a much better defender than I really knew he was going to be, especially on switches, like pick and rolls and such. He's staying in front of even fast guards, and he's not really biting on pump fakes and things of that nature. He's not really biting on the crossovers and things. That's honestly been the thing that has stood out the most to me. Other than that, just how massive he is on the rebounds. He still has some technique to get down in terms of making sure he's sealing guys out, boxing them out, clearing them out of the paint completely. But just his sheer ability to get up with multiple guys trying to keep him out the paint already. Like by tonight, guys knew box Duran out of the paint, which was a little bit different than what I saw his first 2 preseason games. So yeah, just for me, his defense and his absolute sheer ability to rebound has just been impressive, man. He's averaging 12 rebounds a game through preseason in about 22 minutes.
How gigantic does he look in person?
Huge. Huge. I'm being serious. I'm hoping that this is the pick that really pans out the way that they hope. When they say Sean Kemp and you see him do some of the things that he can do out there, his ability to get up, and a couple of these things have been called goaltends, but his ability to get up and just swat shots very, very quickly. I don't know, man. Jalen Duran he's a freak of nature to me, man.
That kid's gonna be special,
I believe as they get him more and more comfortable with this game and whatever they see for him, I think he's gonna be an unstoppable force. I really do.
I agree with that 100%. JD, my friend, what would you have next?
Fun one.
Ooh.
Oh, how much does he score? I don't think he's gonna get many.
Is this just in his first
threes
matchup
that night
against the
We're
Lakers?
talking real points, not like boxing points.
No. Yeah.
113.
Score 39-38, 39-38 in the 4th round. No, Keith, I mean, oh man, revenge points for is this JD, just to clarify, is this in 1 game or is this 2?
I think it'll be 2 games. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, just wanted to make sure. So
hopefully if he stays in the game.
Okay, perfect. So Keith, what do you think about this one? Do you think Isaiah Stewart's going to be looking to be on the attack when he sees the Lakers again, or do you think it'll be just another night for him?
Look, Isaiah Stewart seems like the type of guy that takes everything personally and never forgets. So I do think that he is going to go out there with a point. And look, it's the Lakers. Pretty much every team that plays the Lakers goes out and tries to prove some kind of a point. And especially giving Isaiah Stewart 2 games, assuming he doesn't get in foul trouble. The Lakers don't defend the 3-point line very well. They're not a very good team, I don't think, this season any more than they were in the last season. So all he has to do is average 14 points a game, and he's probably going to get minimum 60 minutes. So, yeah, I would be very comfortable betting the over on this.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, he's definitely going to come out with energy that night. We know that for sure. I mean, he'll be ready to go. I have a feeling he's got that one circled on his calendar. I think we all do. But JD, what category are we going to next there, my friend? Ooh, wins
versus teams who finished. So it's going to be, I'm going to have to look at this at the end of the season. Teams that finished with a over 500 record. How many wins did the Pistons get against them? Of course, I feature the Raptors because they did pretty well against the Raptors, who had a winning record. They went 4-0, right, last year?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we for whatever reason, whenever Dwayne Casey sees the Toronto Raptors, he licks his lips. That's home cooking right there. That's free. I mean, Steve, when talking about getting wins against the best of the best in the NBA, especially being one of the youngest rosters that we have in the NBA, what is your expectations for like wins versus winning teams? Because I mean, we've seen, this might be the deepest the league's been in years. And so the caliber of winning teams now is going to be greater than what we've even had over the last few years, at least to me. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so my prediction was like 26-ish wins. I'll say half of those are against winning teams. Because, we saw they really showed out in a lot of games last year, like the Nets, the Sixers. They were always in those games. So I'll say like 13. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. 13.5. It's a pretty realistic line. Yeah, and looking at overall too, I think, for younger guys, I think a lot of times you see them play better against, those top caliber teams, because those are the ones that they're energized and go out there to play, right? Like those are the ones that, they show up to the arena, be sure they're ready to go because they know they're going to have to be on their A game to get the win. So I'm definitely excited to see how they stack up against team, especially like how we stacked up against Boston last year. I thought was something that gave me a lot of hope going into this season too. So I'm excited to see how they stack up. Wins. Oh,
All
wins
of
in the
them.
teal.
All of them.
All of them. Yes. We win every game in the teal. So in all seriousness, how many games are we playing in the teal? Like
10 or 11.
10 or 11?
Yeah.
And a lot of them are against, a lot of those nights are highlight nights for as well. Like those are nights that they want people out in the arena.
I'm hammering the over on this.
Man, Kool-Aid. I don't know, man. This might be hard. Getting a lot of wins with the teal. Only like 11 chances. Getting above 4 might be a little difficult. What are your thoughts?
It depends on what you mean by wins. Wearing the jerseys, and I know JD he's probably gonna hate this, but look, wearing those jerseys is a win in and of himself, man. Every game is a win, right? No, I don't think they get 4.5. I don't think they get the over here. I think they get a couple. I think that they make a lot of the games exciting, but they wear the teal jerseys 11 times?
I think 10 or 11. I'm not sure which.
I think it was 11.
I thought
A
it was
lot of them
10,
are
and then
against
I heard
playoff
something
caliber
about
teams.
they're having 11 nights.
A lot of them are against playoff caliber teams too.
Yeah.
So
Oh, darn
A
it.
couple,
All
but
right. I'm still hammering
5
over.
would be 5 or 6 going over 500. I don't know, man. That'd be a little tough. That'll be a little tough.
it will be.
I can see them playing very, very well, but getting the wins maybe 2 or 3.
JD, you were crafty with this one, man. You made this one hard, and I respect it.
Yep. And the follow-up.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Let's get it.
Yeah, he looks like Gumby.
I could have gone. Yeah.
You remember Gumby?
Count
anybody?
that baby in a foul. That, my friend.
Yeah, maybe if Special K is in the orange suit, they can be Pokey and Gumby.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
my
not even
God,
a
George
steal, that's
Waha
more like-
with that.
Those
undefeated
pants are
swagger.
something else.
Shout out
Yeah,
to
man.
Kyler Murray.
When I saw Kyler Murray, like, listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. I saw that game outfit. I knew they lost immediately. I didn't need to look at the game. I knew they lost. Whatever quarterback shows up wearing that is an L. However, Keith, please, do you see George Blaha coming out in a teal suit?
The man hates teal. Like even in that suit, that's more like a neon green. That's like looks like he's playing linebacker for like the Seattle Seahawks. No, that George Blaha for 30 years, well, 25 years or whatever, has been very open about his distaste for those teal uniforms. He's going to be a professional. I'm sure he's going to accept it, but is he going to like lean into it and celebrate the return of Teal with everybody else? God, no.
Are you sure?
I don't know. I mean, Lexi, that looks pretty styling, right? If George Blaha shows up like this, would he not be styling and profiling?
I mean, yes, he will be. But, I'm just going to leave it at that. He better not show up
Profiling,
to the
definitely.
thing like we're wearing one of those.
I'd count that baby in a foul. But anyway.
All right. Back to a little more grounded category.
Yeah, back
So,
down to earth a little bit.
team field goal percentage.
So,
And I can tell you last year they shot not well. 431.431.
yeah, so about 43% from the field total. I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, I know you have this one going up.
Jesus.
I think with Jaden Ivey in the lineup, I can almost see this one going down a little bit. Just not saying like I'm not expecting him to have like a bad season shooting from the field or anything, but I think with his game, I think you've seen he's not afraid to let it fly, even if it's not always the best look. I think playing two rookies at significant minutes, I think could definitely produce can produce some not only turnovers but some missed shots as well. Keith, do you think 44% from the field's realistic to expect of this team? Do you expect him to go up in this category, or are you along my thinking there?
The really sad thing is 44 would actually be a step up from last year. That's still expecting improvement.
Right.
And I think they were probably dead last year in field goal percentage, weren't they? Like,
Yeah, they're 43%.
They were like record-setting bad for the first couple months of the season. So yeah, and look, I think Jaden Ivey might help more than hurt because I don't know how many of those long-range threes he's going to hoist. I think he's going to be up there because he's going to be taking a lot of his shots in the paint. But man, I think this team will be one of the better half-court teams in the league, and that's honestly by the end of the season. But I think we're going to get a start like we had last year, where they're struggling, just trying to figure it out. So I would actually go under on this, believe it or not.
That's fair. That's fair. I think I'm along that line of thinking with you as well. But I mean, ultimately, this team is gonna. Listen, you're gonna make shots. You're gonna miss shots. That's how this league works, right? You want to make more than you miss, but that's not always gonna happen. But we'll see. We'll definitely see how they do in this category. That'll be one we're monitoring for sure. The next one,
defense.
So, do you know what our opposing field goal percentage was last year?
Last year, I can look that up. Just one sec.
That's totally okay.
It was definitely worse than, they gave up 47.3%.
Okay, 47%. I think, I don't know about you, Steve, but I think this is like the emphasis this year is to cut this down, right? Is the goals to defensively step up, prevent teams from scoring as much as humanly possible. Do you see them heading in the right direction this year? Or do you see? Yeah, I didn't like your pessimism. I didn't like the look of your face there. I was like, he's about to be negative. Tell me why.
We've seen it. The lack of a rim protector is going to hurt them a lot. Bojan is not exactly helping in that category as well. And then Jaden Ivey still got things to work on. Going back to the games Nerlens plays, I think that actually will do a lot in terms of what the field goal percentage is ultimately going to be. But I think it could realistically be somewhere around 50 because they don't have a wing defender really to go up against somebody like KD. They lost Grant, who they could at least throw on Giannis or somebody like that. And again, dribble penetration is going to be a big thing. And as much as I love Duren and think he will be fantastic, it is just too much to ask for a rookie to be that good on defense, especially rookie big man. It takes them time. So I would say 50%, sadly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's see. Go ahead, Kool-Aid. Go ahead.
Well, no, go ahead, Lexi. Definitely.
I was going to say, Lexi.
Oh no, yeah, you can go. I'm agreeing with Steve fully across on that because there's just can't have too high of expectations in every category.
Yeah.
I was
what
just
about you, man?
No, I was just gonna say the opponent field goal percentage could be something definitely higher. I know it's about 48, 49% through preseason. And Casey actually talked about that and has lamented about that all preseason. He said that, tonight in particular, he said, it's learning, understanding. We're just reaching instead of moving our body. He talked about the fact that they're having a hard time defending pick and rolls, cutters, and people just effectively, he said, waltzing down the middle of the lane. And he said it's going to be a process, that their younger guys are still learning. They are learning. And they have to learn how to move their feet, learn how not to pout after certain plays, get back and things of that nature. So, yeah. And then all of the other stuff that was stated, no Jeremy Grant, no I thought Stewart did really well in the paint, but if he's the only one, we're still going to get overrun. So, yeah, it could be a long season from that standpoint, from the defensive side, if they don't figure something out.
Yeah, most definitely.
All right. This one's for the people.
Which people?
Because what's better than one?
Which people?
I'm smashing the over. Over.
Yeah, I'll smash the over too.
All right.
I mean, Kojo Curry with the wrist.
Yeah.
All right. I had to give a one more Kojo category.
Of course.
Jeff Kojo.
If this was my
I
show,
want,
this would be.
people thinking about him all season long.
Oh, they will. Don't you worry.
All right.
Oh, they will.
Next.
Ooh, points per game for Cade. Lexi, I will go to you for this one first. I mean, I mean, obviously it's hard to like put like a number to your head. I'll pull up his points per game from last year just to give you like a point of reference. Last year, Cade averaged 17.4 points per game, shooting about 16 attempts per game. I feel like almost just off his attempts alone, I feel like he's going to naturally go up in points per game alone in that sense. Lexi, do you see Cade clearing 20 points a game this year?
I think so. I mean, I know that he's gotten off on a slow start in this preseason, but I just think that this is going to be a year where he just comes out and is on fire. So I don't know though if it's going to be over 20. I don't know.
Yeah, the line JD has is 21.45.
Yeah, I see that. I might go under on that just a little bit though.
He did average right around that after the All-Star break.
Yeah.
So
I mean, as long as it stays on that, but yeah, I'll say under right now.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Brandon, you know how much I'm thrilled for Cade's season this upcoming year.
Yeah.
Personally, on your end, do you think it's realistic to expect Cade to go 22 plus a game?
I think it's realistic that it can happen. I don't know. I see it being kind of like right at that 21 points a game mark, though.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing with
short of the 22.
I mean, that's the thing with Cade. He's the type of guy that can be a star without his points per game being as high, his greatest attribute, right? So I think that's the difficult thing to predict there. But I mean, I think we all agree, though. I think he's in for a really good second year.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. What I think we're going to see a lot from Cade, and if the preseason is any indication, it was hard to really just see what they're going to do just because they were working on things. But I can see there being games similar to Chauncey Billups where Cade is just really pushing the pace, facilitating, getting other guys involved that can't really create for themselves, but you need them in the game. Like tonight, they started the game off going to Isaiah Stewart. I could see Cade having games and nights like that where he's scoring 10 points, 11 points all the way up into the fourth quarter. And then all of a sudden you see him putting up anywhere from 7 to 10 points in that last quarter of games. And that could lead him anywhere between, like I said, that 18 to 22. But yeah, with his overall ability is, playmaking, trying to get everybody else involved in being a connector. I think that doesn't take away from his game, but it may take away from his scoring output.
Motown Money 313 says 17 under Casey, 22 under any other coach. I say this with peace and love.
It was 22 with Casey though after All-Star break.
I say this with peace and love. If you really think a coach has that kind of effect on a player's points per game, you're a literal dumbass. Anyway, let's go to the next category.
All right. So how many players are going to suit up? Last year we had a lot of we ended up having 25 players that played at least a minute for the Pistons last year.
Most in franchise history.
Yeah. So
wow.
I was
COVID season was a thing.
Yeah. I got to taper back a little bit, but
yeah,
and I guess this kind of depends on what Troy does trade-wise.
there was technically 27 different guys that suited up
Is
in a
that right? I
Pistons.
thought it was only 25.
I went on. I'm seeing 27 on here. Like there's but I
Okay.
mean it's
No,
also
you're
it's
right.
hard to tell.
You're right.
Yeah. But I mean that's just crazy. I mean, listen, there's 15 guys on an NBA roster, right? Assuming Troy Weaver makes any trades, that potentially could bump that up by a few. Keith, I want to go to you on this one. I mean, like, I know we talked a little bit before about like what our expectations were for, this season as far as trades and stuff goes. I personally don't see the Pistons utilizing the crews as much this year as they did last year. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so yeah, last year I hopefully will never happen again, but that obviously that number, if it doesn't, is not going to happen again. But even 2 years ago, they had 22 different players playing a game, and then the last time they made the playoffs, I believe they had 20. So that line is pretty good. The problem is, like you said, unless there's a lot of injuries, I don't see them utilizing the crews as much because they have so many young players already on the team that they want to get long, extended looks at. So I would actually go the under on this, but this is a very good line. I would say 20 or 21.
Right.
Yeah, that's fair. I like that. JD, what's the next one? Man.
Speaking of the end of the bench.
Yeah, along that similar, I guess along like the similar lines of kind of like what we're just touching on of like how many, how much are you going to see from some of those guys? I personally, I mean, I think Kevin Knox is gonna carry this part of the category in my opinion. I thought there were moments tonight. What's that?
Rodney Mack don't get no love.
No, he doesn't. But anyway,
What?
not in that.
Birmingham's finest.
Hey, he's a great guy. I love him as a guy. But if you're asking me how many games he's going to put up 10 plus this season, I'm not going very high on that. I mean, I will say though, I feel like Kevin Knox. I mean, I'm going to ask you, Kool-Aid, because you were in the building tonight. You got to see him, personally. How did Kevin Knox look? What was your impressions of him? Do you think, and it's hard to tell off of one
You mean
performance.
Kevin Durant
but,
Sr. At the Rico Hines runs? Oh God. I listen. We sat here all summer saying after they did the trade, like, yo, what are we getting from Kevin Knox? People told us there is basketball still left there. The Knicks was not a good situation for him. You're getting a player. Kevin Knox, out of this bunch, is the one that I believe, especially after seeing a little bit tonight and kind of getting back into some tapes, he just kind of fits into the offense. I'm not. Is it wrong of me after kind of seeing him play, looking into some of his tapes, to say he looks like a more like a polished Isaiah Livers, like his style of play on both ends of the court? I thought he was good shooting the ball. I thought he was good, kind of not necessarily like a facilitator or anything of that nature, but when he had the ball in his hands, he didn't look like he was overmatched, out of place, or anything of that nature. So I don't know, man. I like Kevin Knox. I liked him on defense as well, and he got some good remarks from Dwayne Casey as well, who said he's going to be an active part of the rotation of the bench.
Yeah.
So
you're hitting
12 and a half. That's a good line, man.
It is a good line. It's a very good line. It's tricky, man. It's tricky. But we got one more category, Jay. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, what did Kevin Knox have tonight?
I think he had like 13 points.
Yeah, 13 in 18 minutes on 4 of 9 shooting, 2 free throws.
There we go.
Definitely
All right,
seemed
and
good.
we have
I had one thing real quick. Kevin Knox's career field goal percentage is lower than Isaiah Livers' 3-point percentage.
Woo.
He looks,
I know
like
that he started off hot, but in New York, his field goal percentage went down, and there are people who are saying that, and that's why I prefaced that they're saying New York was a bad situation for him.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So there is one more category, but there is also a bonus. The bonus question worked double and the tiebreaker. So
that's right. We got a couple more.
Okay. All right. So let's get to it. postseason awards won?
Ooh. I mean, this really comes down to it. Will Jaden Ivey win Rookie of the Year? I personally think
Killian MIP.
Killian MIP, yeah.
No. But I mean, in all seriousness, I mean, listen, man, I think Ivy's gonna have a chance. I think one thing we did see, last night was Benedict Mathurin showcase. He's definitely gonna have a say for that award. I'm gonna do a little bit different on this one. I want to go around the table, and I want you guys to give a real quick. Do you think the Pistons will have any award winners this year? And if so, what award? Keith, you're up first.
And damn it, I really wish I could be with Brandon on the Killian thing, because I think he's going to have a big bounce back here. But if you look at the guys who are winning most improved, John Morant won most improved last year.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's like,
but they're just giving it to like guys that went from really good to great. Now it's not.
Yeah.
The award doesn't mean what you think it does. So I'm gonna. This is a hard 0 for me, just because I don't see. And look, Jaden Ivey's not gonna get enough. Like Paolo Banchero, he will almost have to try not to win the award because his usage is going to be so high. Jaden Ivey's not going to get that luxury playing next to Cade. So, and does anyone think Dwayne Casey's going to get Coach of the Year? I mean, yeah, if the Pistons make the playoffs, maybe, but still probably not. So I see no Piston candidates for any of the awards here. I'm sorry.
There's people that genuinely believe that Dwayne Casey could get fired this year, which the fact that people think that, I mean,
yeah.
Okay. You keep telling yourself that there, bucko. But Steve, what about you?
Are we counting all NBA in this? Like, is that an award?
First team, I would say, would qualify.
Oh, not second or third?
I was thinking
I
hardware.
thought you meant like singular individual trophies.
Yeah, I was thinking hardware.
Yeah, hardware, then no. But so yeah, just what's already been said, it's just going to be a tough uphill battle. So
there's finals MVP though.
Come on, man.
Right, there is that.
Yeah, what would make this cool is if we traded someone and then they, got like a conference.
Then they want to post the award. Exactly. Lexi, do you see a Piston winning in your hardware this year?
No, not this year. Under on that. Next year, maybe.
And Kool-Aid, last but not least.
Yeah, same. This one was well covered. Obviously, the hope is that you want a couple guys that show well. Killian Hayes in the MIP and Jaden Ivey in the Rookie of the Year and Jalen Duren in the Rookie of the Year race, but I don't see them getting it.
Yeah, that's fair. Next one we have right here. This is the bonus, correct?
The bonus, a lot on the line, and I thought this was almost going to be in some way the gimme question, which it isn't, because I thought there's no way. But then the last game, I saw a little like a high school mustache, and it just got me to thinking that.
Wait, a beard? Not like a little shadow mustache, a whole beard?
He had a starter.
Grow a beard?
He had the starter kit going.
I don't think. Listen, man.
This is possible. I don't know the answer.
I think Killian's the clean cut assassin. You know what I mean? I think he's the clean shaven killer. I mean, Lexi, does he look like a guy that would grow a beard?
How old is he now?
He's 20.
17. No.
Yeah, 17. He's 20, 21.
Yeah, I mean,
guys, I'm 25. It still ain't happening for me. I can tell when it's not destined.
A full season under his belt, and then he'll start getting the stubble.
yeah, exactly.
That's what it takes.
It's rookie year, right?
Yeah, his first full year.
Yep, okay. On his 83rd game, he will grow his first facial hair.
He's like a hair.
In the playoffs, on the way to getting that Finals MVP that JD was talking about.
There we go. The year of Killian. First the MIP, then the MVP with a beard.
Let's go.
Okay, and then we got tiebreaker.
Well, wait, can I ask one question? What's more likely, that he actually grows a beard or that he wins MIP?
Ooh.
Beard.
Beard.
In most improved Killian.
Ooh, that's gonna be a close one.
That's a good question.
When he gets
I
his
don't have
award
an
with the
answer
stubble.
for it. All right. Now we're going. Tiebreaker.
Most
points by a former Piston. You got to name who and how many points they score in the game.
Ooh.
Luka
All right, I'm
Garza,
gonna go bold.
30. No.
I'm going bold. I'm going Jeremy Grant with 36.
No, you don't
I was
have
gonna
to name-
say Jeremy Grant 28.
I know who I'm not saying. Drummond.
Are these our only options for former?
No.
Pistons?
Any former Piston.
Yeah,
Then it's
there's
Chris
one big
Middleton.
one has been mentioned. Yeah,
I'll
Bruce
take Chris
Brown.
Middleton with like 35.
DeLon Wright.
I,
Tobias.
yeah, you stole my thunder. I was going to say Chris Middleton with like 40, just because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
Chris Middleton's a former Piston.
he's going to go.
So yeah, I didn't know if it was all of them.
Reggie.
Guys, we were having such a fun night, and then you have to go and drop that on me, and I'm like, what? Like, what the?
I have time to
was
think
that?
on this. It's late. I'm tired.
Oh,
That's
so good.
that's the show.
I'm sorry,
With
guys.
that-
I've been over here trying to figure out what the heck did the Knicks do to Kevin Knox. Like, I'm in the box score now. Like, he had a year literally where he shot 393 from 3-point percentage and 392 from field goal percentage.
Well, I mean, I
Maybe-
can give you the whole
maybe it was
breakdown
just
from
New York
Kentucky
City.
to New York to Atlanta one night if you really want.
So,
Atlanta was not
So,
better.
JD, correct
Yes,
me if
sir.
I'm wrong. Is this the forum?
Yep.
Did I find it?
You found it.
Oh,
You
it's
did the
before,
work.
yes.
Look at that. I just
You don't know
Googled
this place
Detroit
very well.
Pistons forum, and I clicked on the one with the weirdest URL.
Yes.
So with that,
Very
I'm
good.
going to go ahead and copy and paste that link into the chat. If you
Oh,
want,
great.
if you want to fill out this form, feel free to go to the bulletin, fill that out, and you want to be entered in the competition and for the chance to win some seats to a Pistons game this
Really?
upcoming
You're gonna
season.
share that on Twitter too, right? I'll share.
Oh
Yeah, I gotta type out all the categories though, so
Okay.
it'll probably take a few minutes.
Hey, that's totally fair. But as soon as
yeah.
that is live,
I mean,
it will go live on the bulletin. We'll be sure to share that tomorrow as well, so that if anyone tunes in later, they can come in and do that. We'll also make sure to put it into the description of this video as well, so that anyone who is tuning in after the fact can go through and fill that out then. But JD, thanks so much for all the work that you put into that, man.
Hey.
Just thank you for doing this. Thank you for having this be a long running tradition, and also just thanks for letting us be a part of it this year. This was a lot of
Oh,
fun.
you're welcome.
It was just fun
Thank-
having you.
Thank you guys for having me on and all the panelists. I know some of you are got to get up early in the morning, so I appreciate you pulling a late night and
Sure.
chiming in, making it a lot more fun.
Yeah,
My favorite
this was
part of the preseason now.
I'm sorry.
But thank you,
My
Sean,
favorite
too.
part of the preseason now.
absolutely,
Thank
man.
you,
Same
Sean,
here.
for hosting, bro.
Hey, absolutely,
Thank you,
brother.
Sean.
Thank you, Kool-Aid, for being in there in person and holding it down and giving us all that great reporting tonight and in general throughout the year. But seriously, thank you all so much for tuning in, and being a part of this stream. Thank you to Keith as well for joining and being a part of this. Keith, we'd love to have you on anytime, man. It's just me, dude. I love talking basketball with you. So anytime I get the chance, it's always a pleasure. So Keith, thanks so much for being here, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. Be sure to go check out Keith's podcast as well and follow him on Twitter at Charlatan28 and go listen to Bad Boys and Beyond and follow them at Bad Boys Beyond on Twitter. Go follow my guy Steve at Birdcade World. I even tried rolling the tongue there, and that was my worst attempt by far. Bird.
You're what we call a wedo. Go look that up.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I don't know if I like that, but yeah, that's what I am. But also be sure you're following Lexi on Twitter as well at GoBlueLexi117 and checking out her Michigan podcast as well on Stadium Boulevard over there. Lexi, real quick, prediction for Saturday.
Oh boy, what did I say earlier? 35-17 Michigan.
I like it. Confident. I like it. And be sure to go check her out. She's doing a lot of great content. Seriously, you don't want to miss that. And last but most certainly not least, the godfather of Woodward Pistons, the man who makes this all happen, my boy, Brandon, a.k.a. Be
I
sure to go follow him
appreciate
on
it,
Twitter
man.
at Detroit Kool-Aid.
But we all make it happen, man. I appreciate this team. I appreciate all the contributions. Everybody that's ever come on the platform, including Keith. Some of the best content we've made. Honestly, yeah, he's contributed a lot. So yeah, I like everybody that gets down with We're Pistons, man. It's been an awesome and fun experience.
100%, man. And we just thank you all for tuning in.
Impaler of Horizons.
That's fact. Look,
yeah, it's been a long week, y'all. I gotta move this weekend, so
tonight though. I like that.
Yeah,
I know. Next time you guys see me, I'll actually have a whole office background, cool things. Woo-hoo. And 2 full bathrooms compared to 1. I can cry. I never have to share one bathroom with a man again. It's gonna be so wonderful.
Man, you get to have your own bathroom for crying for Pistons games this year, and
for Lions, I mean, hopefully not Michigan. Not gonna.
I totally love that she said, "Nah, the Lions are not exempt."
No,
yeah,
no, they are.
I pretend they don't hurt me, but they do.
Just like my dad. Anyway, that's gonna do it. No, I'm kidding. That is gonna do it. I'm totally kidding. I love my dad. But this is gonna do it today, folks, for We're Pistons. Thank you all so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. We will catch you guys next time. Be sure you're subscribed to here and even from Half Court if you want some more great Pistons and NBA content. We'll catch you guys next week here at We're Pistons.
Go Blue.
Go Blue.